Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress.
Hello, Tito.
Hello, Trabant.
Are we going to talk about Hollywood movies in our new podcast?
Wow, this is a scene from The Looper. This was released in 2012, I think. Let's have a look.
Uh, okay.
Well, overseas, right? Studying up your Mandarin? French. Why the fuck French? Going to France. You should go to China. I'm going to France. I'm from the future. You should go to China.
So I remember this was very funny to me when I first watched it, and this was from a time when people were really looking at China as the world's next economy, the world's next superpower. China is the future.
It was shortly after the Summer Olympics, and this movie is from 2012, and I believe this is the very first Hollywood movie when Hollywood started kowtowing China.
Yeah, you would see this in a lot of other movies as well, because China was able to impose quotas on how many foreign films it shows, to sort of protect their own movie making industry.
Chinese quota is, I believe, 10 movies a year, and the movies are allowed to earn only 10% of the budget.
Wow, that's very high protectionism.
Yeah, it is, but still better some money than no money.
Exactly, because China is such a large market, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's why. That's why.
Maybe this is how I started learning Chinese as well. At around this time, and I wanted to talk to you about how did China get there? Because starting off in the 1950s, China had very poor expectations and very poor policies, that would enable it to become richer.
So it definitely didn't start with Mao Zedong. That's for sure. And what are we looking at? What is this picture?
This should be a picture from the time of the Great Leap Forward, at the end of
Okay.
the 1950s, around
Yeah, 1958 to
8, 9, 1960. What you can see here,
1961.
yeah, what you can see here is a lot of some looks like metal tubes, metal pipes, yeah, metal products, but
Yeah.
could be some
Right.
some metal spools, but this actually looks like the quality is okay. But China was very naive during this time. Rather, the policymakers, they instead of listening to what scientists and people who had a basic knowledge of economy and industry would tell them, they would try to impose some very strange policies on the population. What kind of things happened?
Well, it was the era called the Great Leap Forward that was launched by Mao Zedong, the great chairman of China, and as usually everything he touched, he screwed up, and it was a big disaster for China.
Yeah.
So talking about the steel, this is what the people were supposed to do. Uneducated people without any expertise were asked to produce steel at home.
Yeah, for example, they would make a makeshift furnace somewhere in the village, let's say, and people would be asked to produce some metal there, and then send it to a distribution center, and um, the politicians would be claiming, "Wow, China will surpass the UK or the United States in just a few years." Well, this was extremely naive. Obviously, people who wanted to meet the quotas or even exceed them, they would pile all kinds of scrap metal into these little furnaces.
Right.
So every furnace would make some kind of weird mixture, a weird mold of some unknown composition that would be useless for most things. So essentially, they wasted their time and resources. So this was a
Well,
little.
who could foresee?
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, it was a great plan. I just
This was
Well,
a
wrong,
little
right?
comical. At the same time of wasting resources like this, what other things did China do?
well, it was a bunch of things that
Yeah.
Mao Zedong launched, just like killing the sparrows, because sparrows just eat too much seeds, from the field. So killing the sparrows means bigger harvest. Makes
I
totally
mean,
sense.
it's only logical, except that you forget, that they don't really eat the seeds. Or maybe not all birds eat the seeds, or maybe it's not just about the seeds, but they also eat the pests that nibble on the young seedling. For example, they might nibble on the roots, right? So eventually you would get more of these pests than before, right? Because they wouldn't be eaten. So you would get instead of having a more bountiful harvest, you would end up with a terrible harvest. And if this is exacerbated by other environmental conditions, then you're going to have so little food that you're going to have people starving.
Yeah, because the result was expulsion in vermin population, and basically after the good harvest in 1958 was followed by the terrible harvest in 1959, which led to a terrible starvation, as the Great Chinese Famine.
What did how did the China react to the situation? What did they do?
Well, they were rations. People suddenly were allowed to eat much less than before, and they were still their harvest was sold abroad, not given to the people, which led to a terrible starvation,
Yeah, this
which
is
led to people eating leaves and bark of trees, and led to murders and cannibalism.
yeah. I mean, this is extremely cynical. To show that no, we're not having any problems. We will export some food, right? If when China was allowed some food aid, I believe that Mao Zedong refused because nobody wants to show that there are any problems.
Yeah, it's estimated that between 18 to 45 million people died in the starvation.
Well, eventually, they would have to people would notice this, and they'd have to reverse this very quickly. And as a result, what happened to Chairman Mao?
Well, this great leap forward was abandoned very shortly after in 1961. It was supposed to be the second five-year plan, but came short after. Actually, first the officials were lying about the production and so on, but eventually the other communist leaders actually forced Mao to step down as a leader of the country. He remained the status of the chairman of China, but Mao lost lots of power after this terrible uh, great leap forward experiment.
Yeah, and what was his reaction? Was he okay with that, or
Well,
I'm just joking? Obviously, he was not. In fact, he wanted
yeah.
to get revenge against the people, who
Uh-huh.
kind of removed him from power.
Yeah, because it was so unfair, it wasn't his fault. I mean, he meant well. So in
Sure, he did.
1966, he launched the Cultural Revolution, which led to similar disaster.
Right. I mean, this time the factories were working normally or semi-normally, but all the educated people that should be heading the country, they might be sent somewhere to the countryside, if they're lucky, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing else happens to them. Same with the students,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result, you would get generations where someone might have gone to school for 4 years, and that's it. You know, so they barely know how to read and write Chinese, and
Right.
these people are still alive. So this had disastrous consequences for the Chinese society.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I suppose after Chairman Mao's death, people would try to get rid of these policies as much as or as
Mm-hmm.
not quickly, but as they would try to get out of
Can you
this as
yeah.
quickly as possible. Go
Can you
ahead.
imagine that after all these disasters, what Mao Zedong uh, uh, did, after killing so many people, what the Chinese students learn at school is that Mao Zedong was 70% right and 30% wrong. How many
Wow.
people would have to die if he was like 50% wrong? Probably half of the population, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Terrible, awful, terrible,
ridiculous.
awful, terrible dictator and murderous dictator. Mao Zedong he was.
Yes, the problem is that the Chinese government is very reluctant to admit mistakes from the past because they believe then the entire system, the foundation of the Communist Party, upon which
Yes,
it's be
yeah,
which it is
because
built, would come falling down.
just like Russians have Lenin, so the Chinese have Mao Zedong. They have nobody
Yeah,
before
yeah,
him.
exactly. Very good point.
So he was like the first one. So anyway, everything changed after his death, and after Deng Xiaoping took power, he decided that enough is enough, and we have to take maybe different roads, different paths. And he looked up to South Korea and Japan and decided like, wow, maybe we can change our socialist system a little bit and we can keep our communism, but maybe we can open our economy a little bit.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how much this is discussed in China or in general, but it seems logical to me that China would be looking at its neighbors and they would see the developments going on there, and they would be see, aha, if they're doing something successfully, then maybe we can do that too.
Right, exactly.
And perhaps
And
China, sorry to interrupt you, but China was also thinking, well, we also have, some rich people living in Hong Kong or even in Taiwan. By that time, maybe they can help us with some investments.
yeah, first of all, when China talks about this great development since the 1979, Chinese Communist Party likes to claim that it was because of their leadership. Like what the Chinese Communist Party achieved, all the success of the country. They like to claim it was their doing, but actually, many people think, like for example, Stephen Kotkin, that it was the people, it was the Chinese people who made themselves rich by firstly, by forcing government to allow them to trade their agricultural products, like Stephen Kotkin literally says, like the government eventually said, okay, guys, you can sell, let's say, cabbage and carrots, but nothing else. And the people said, no, screw you. We are going to trade also, I don't know, potatoes and
Right, right.
and then they said, okay. The government said, now you can also trade other agricultural products, but only on Tuesday and Thursday. The people said, no, we are going to trade also Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on the weekend. So like this, the people forced the government to reopen, you know.
So it happened
To
not
the,
really thanks to the government, but perhaps in spite of the government.
exactly, in spite of the government, China started developing because people were asking for it. So there was actually two main reasons. One was the free market economy, and second was the foreign investments, which came shortly after.
Gotcha.
Like from 1949, China started reopening, and from 1981, China was already basically implementing this free market economy.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why you get into these very high digits of GDP growth, over 10%, which this is truly remarkable. And this is not the usual situation for most countries after they have already developed. Problem is, it's been going on for a while in China that people are used to. Maybe this is how it should continue. But then again, that's not really the case, especially considering the population developments in China.
Yeah, right.
I mean, let's have a look at poverty. Right.
Oh yeah, poverty.
This is how
China, the Chinese government likes to claim that actually one of the great achievements of their ruling is alleviating by now like 770 million people out of poverty. But what they are talking about is not actually poverty; it's extreme poverty.
Right. Yeah. And this was
Not just
defined,
poverty.
maybe some time ago as $1.90 per day. Now it's 2.15.
Yeah, actually, China is a low income economy. The threshold for extreme poverty is $1.9 a day.
Yeah.
But for a middle or higher market or income economy, the threshold is much higher. It's 5.5.
Yeah, you can see basically every country sort of counts this basically however they want to count it, right? So this is kind of adjusted to these national markings. For example, in the United States, the threshold would be at $24.55 per day.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right. Well, China very seldomly give any explanation how the figures are calculated in China, and sometimes even what threshold is used. They just say, we alleviated now, I don't know, like Xi Jinping 2022 declared that under his leadership, he personally alleviated 100 million people out of poverty. I call it like
adorable. It's like he did it personally.
Yeah, he likes to call it splendid miracle. He call it splendid miracle.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's a lot of
Great.
a lot of hard work.
Great job. Yeah. But actually, China, the threshold should be higher than 1.9 dollars a day. China is even threshold for like a rural area, different threshold for different regions, right? In China. So, but according to the World Bank, China already reached like this middle level income economy. So the threshold should be 5.5
Ah, I
dollars.
see. Yeah.
And as a proof, I would use what the former Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang said that China, it was some kind of criticism actually, that was very confusing, that 600 million people, Chinese people, still earn less than 1,000 yuan a month, which is actually $5.5 a day.
Yeah. Maybe even less by now. Yeah.
I think this is not a coincidence why he used this number.
Could
He
be.
was talking
Could
about
be.
this Bitcoin fight. Yeah. So I think it was some kind of, maybe some people were saying that maybe he's trying to pursue some of his own reforms. Xi Jinping was not very keen on.
Possible, there's very little knowledge about what goes on inside the party, but you do see some of these policies on the street. For example, after the first wave of COVID in China in 2020, in the summer, you would see some street vendors and even people selling things out of their cars in certain areas. One day you would see them, then a few days later, they might be gone. They wouldn't be allowed anymore. So
Right.
maybe, yeah, the policy would be reversed. Xi Jinping might say, "Well, this is not okay."
They are helping themselves, like they always did. Never
Right.
rely on the government. So according to Li Keqiang, 30% of Chinese population is still living in the extreme poverty.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's this. So, no, it's not good. It's not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah. No, sorry. Actually, I'm talking 600. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. What's happening in this picture?
This is look how happy everyone is here. This is from November 11th in 2001 in Doha. When China signed the accession, or when China was signed into the World Trade Organization.
What a great success! China likes to keep saying like it was their great success.
Yes.
What they achieved.
It reminds me
Maybe
of how China
the world-
was accepted into the United Nations in place of the Republic of China and Taiwan.
Okay, another success. Yeah, so the second biggest success, I guess. Yeah, apparently China. Everybody was begging China, please come to the WTO, please. Or they were shown goodwill and they were allowed to join WTO, even though they were breaking all the rules. They were not actually ready to join WTO. But one of the reasons could be that the world thought there would be some advantage for their own market,
Yes,
and
very
the
good
China.
point.
Yeah, so it was like a win-win situation. Maybe the world was thinking.
And I think it was,
The
in
rest.
the spirit of those times, China was developing a little bit more economically, so other countries they might naively think that okay, well, now China will eventually become normal like any other
Right.
democratic country.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's exactly. There was a very large divergence between China's democratization, which hasn't
Yes.
really happened, and the economic growth, which has surpassed some of the predictions that people might have had. So this did not
Oh,
help democratize China at all, and likewise, it hasn't helped to get China to play by the rules, because countries would think, okay, well, now we'll accept China in, and we'll let them sort out these problems later. Gives more credence to the WTO as a world trade organization, right? And eventually China will have to abide by the rules, right? So the other countries are not losing anything, right? They're just gaining access to Chinese markets, while instead China has still remained somewhat protectionist of its own internal market, and
Yes.
at the same time has been able to export to other countries with fewer barriers and tariffs than before.
All right, so let me sum up. They offered China a hand, and China took their arm and leg and changed to worse, actually, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say to worse. I mean, economically, China is better now than it was before, but at what cost to other countries? For example, in the United States, around 6 million jobs were lost. Maybe about 1 million of those in manufacturing might have been due to China. Who knows? Because this is also this is a natural process as manufacturing becomes more automated, right? But then it's easier, to see China as something to blame.
Right, right. Another example comes to my mind, like all the foreign countries, European countries, America, Canada, been subsidizing until 2021 through their postal service, which was the taxpayers' money, all the parcels that were sent from China, like that cost like $1 for delivery all the way from China, and all these expenses were paid by the taxpayers in Europe, America, and Canada. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now, of course, the consumers are happy because they can buy cheap Chinese products at a competitive price. But at the same time, people don't realize they're paying for it with their own money if it's being subsidized by the public funds.
Yeah. During the Donald Trump era, I think Donald Trump came up with a number like $300 and $500 million a year America spends on subsidizing the Chinese parcels.
Yeah, and it can be a touchy subject that you can use, especially while some manufacturing has moved away from the United States to China. So yeah.
Right. Unbelievable. Yeah. So right now, actually, the situation in China demographics is not very optimistic.
Well, let's take a look. Let's
Take
see.
a
Here
look.
is the population growth from. These are estimates and predictions, obviously, from the 1950s until
Okay.
the year 2100. Yeah,
Okay.
and if you look at, here is, I don't know when they made this, but yeah, I mean, 20. Should probably be
No, this is
be here. Yeah, I mean, this is like an
Should be
earlier
there.
prediction. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because you see, it
So
was
if-
projected 10 years ago that India would overtake China here at the end of, closer to the end of this decade, whereas it has already happened.
Why didn't
see
the
it.
Chinese Communist Party cancel the one-child policy 10 years ago after they saw these graphs? Why did they wait? Why did they wait until 2015 when they changed the one-child policy to two-child policy, and then in 2018 to three-children policy? Why would they wait so long?
Well, because if they change it earlier, it seems like they would have to admit we made a mistake, right? They don't want to do that. They want people, they want to maybe slowly cancel it or stop enforcing it, see if people have more children, and then cancel it completely, kind of to people to forget about this.
So this is the first time, and Chinese population is in decline since 1961, since the Great Starvation.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
I mean, it's one thing to
Congratulations.
allow people to have more children, you know, which people do. People, some families have two children now because they are very happy and euphoric that they can finally do that. But you know, maybe this will decline as well, right? Or maybe they don't want to have more. They don't want to have 3 and 4 children, especially in the cities, because of the costs and pressure of raising them.
Yeah, now look at the prediction. This prediction is actually too optimistic. By
Maybe,
2100,
maybe.
China's population should decrease to 700 something million people, while India will be at about 1.7 billion. So the population of India will be like 2.5 higher than population of China.
Wow. It's going to be harder
Yeah,
for China, you know, to compete in the world economically with a reduced workforce.
Yeah, not enough young workforce, pressure on Chinese social safety, healthcare system, everything, disaster.
Yeah.
And it's not like China is a country of immigrants. Like
Good point.
China
Yeah.
doesn't allow any immigration, zero, basically zero immigration in China. So how are they going to solve this problem?
I really don't know. You know, they might be looking at Japan and thinking, okay, we can solve something through robotics. You know, we can automate some more jobs, but you know that includes that involves letting people, you know, be more creative in coming up with these solutions. And
Yeah, if it was only so simple.
yeah,
Yeah.
not that easy.
Yeah. I remember in April there was the Chinese foreign minister spokesman Wang Wenbin.
Yeah.
He was
Here,
asked by journalists about the population decline and India overpassing China in population. That how are they going to solve this problem? And what was his reply? Did he say any? Did he suggest any plans?
Nope, no, not that I've seen. All he said was, well, you can't just look at the size, but also at the quality of the population. I mean, that is just the worst word choice he could have used.
Terrible. Terrible. Would say Chinese, no, not even Chinese, Han supremacist. Saying
God,
something
yeah,
like
it
that.
does sound like that, doesn't it? My God, because you know, obviously, you know, India would be offended. Well, are you saying that you know we are of lower quality
Other
than you?
country. Imagine American foreign person would say like something like this about people from Mexico.
No, it reminds me when Donald Trump was saying, well, the United States should get more immigrants from you know, other countries, not just these shithole countries.
He said that.
He did, yeah. This was yeah.
So that's okay.
This
okay,
was
so I'm taking it back.
no, but you see, this was mentioned a lot. Like, God, you know, how can you do this? You know, how can you say something like this? You know, obviously, every country
Yeah.
has to choose or has the right to choose who they allow in. But you know, China will be having problems if they don't let more immigrants.
I think it's already started. It's already started. Interesting.
What is China spending on money instead?
Well, this is the nuclear warheads. China has at the moment 400 nuclear warheads, and the plan is that by 2035, in only 12 years, the aim is 1,500 nuclear warheads.
Wow, that's more than triple. That's almost quadruple.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
I mean, You know, theoretically, you just need a single warhead to threaten somebody. You don't need to jump for 400 to almost 1600. That's not how it works.
Not enough. I don't know. The more the better.
So-
I don't know.
Um,
In March of this year, China announced for defense budget 230 billion US dollars. Okay, but by the International Institute of for Strategic Studies, they put the number at 319 billion dollars.
so even more. It seems like
So
China
after
is
China
preparing for something.
China lifted up lots of people out of poverty, and now thing to do, just make more nuclear warheads. How else to spend the money?
Well, then now there are other ways. Let's have a look. What can we see
Ah, it's beautiful. Actually, I like this picture.
here? This is nice, huh? This is
Yeah.
the Chinese space
This is
station. But why isn't it a part of the International Space Station?
Yeah, good question.
I
In
think
2011,
they were worried about stealing some data.
concerns about the national security. So China was banned from the International Space Station, ISS. So they had no choice just to build their own space station, which cost about 10 billion US dollars.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously China likes to claim, oh, this is other countries, not letting us in. But was probably a reason for this. Other countries
Definitely
weren't
was a-
banned from the International Space Station. Russia wasn't banned from there.
Yeah. Russia wasn't banned. China was banned. Yeah, so yeah, embarrassing. China spent in 2020. China spent $9 billion in space funding. On the contrary, USA spent 48 billion. So China is not even close,
No, you're right.
but it's still the second in the world
Wow.
in spending
Okay.
space program. Yeah. Now, question for you: in 2015, how much China spent on space science?
Space
America
research
spent-
in general, yeah.
Yeah. America spent $5 billion. Okay, give you a little clue. How much China spent on space science in 2015?
Well, I mean, if they're the second biggest spender on the space program, should also be a lot of money then. Maybe let's say maybe up to $500 million.
$110 million.
This is 100. Okay.
So basically zero. China is not developing anything. China is not doing any research.
Well, then
China is just
where are they
buying
getting the
it.
technology from?
There are only two countries they get it from, but not very progressive for the humankind, I would say.
No, I mean, then how are they going to, introduce anything new, right? If you just keep buying things or stealing
Yeah.
intellectual property.
I don't think they can. They are still talking about landing on the moon, which for I don't know what reason. Yeah. Like, but maybe a good thing is because China started talking about landing on the moon. Now America says they are going back to the moon.
Oh, okay. Well, that could very well be it. Yeah, you see this competition
Yeah.
with missiles,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a kind of a
During the
sounds like
competition
another
between
kind of a
America-
Cold War. Yeah.
yeah, sounds like the same thing exactly. So this is Huawei. And Huawei is maybe used as like an example, how the Chinese technology is taking over and will rule how the Chinese people are inventive and so on. So I looked up on Google actually why Huawei is considered uh, superior to other mobile phones, and
Is it? I don't know.
all I found was perfecting, not developing, perfecting work on Android platforms, good camera captures with lots of light, nice design, and good battery life.
I see. Okay, okay, but it's not really. Mm, they're not really introducing anything new. I don't. As far as I've heard, or I haven't heard about anything new.
No, nothing new. Just perfecting
I mean,
few
at
things.
some point they'll have to introduce something new because other countries in the future they might be able to produce these products more cheaply,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah, maybe
I mean,
it's
if they
a
can
lot about
perfect
that.
some features and produce the phones a little cheaper than some of the competitors, then yeah, they might take a, they might have a good position on the market. But this will change in the future, so they will have to, you know, um, keep innovating some things.
Maybe they are trying, but it's not easy. You need people, you need innovators.
Yeah, it's not
How
easy
can
if they're not given
uh,
free conditions. Let's say.
yeah. So despite all these Chinese successes in the space program and spending money on military, until 2021, China was receiving the UN World Food Program free food, from other countries, which 50% was donated by the US. Then the other countries were like Sweden, Germany, the UK. Basically, the rich countries, the most developed countries, were sending free food to China, while China was spending its money on space program and military and nuclear
God,
warheads.
that sounds ridiculous
Doesn't
when
make
you
any
put it
sense.
that way. Yes, it does. I mean,
Yeah, unbelievable.
then it sounds like the money that you should have spent on researching and growing more food. you know,
Yeah.
Instead
No shame.
you're
No shame.
using this for your
China was supposed to
yeah
China was
for
supposed
your
to
own
say
hard
at
power
some
projection.
point that, yeah, power projection. China was supposed to say at some point that, okay, we don't need the money anymore. We are not like a lower income economy. We are at least like a middle income. And no, China wouldn't say that. Eventually, the UK and then probably also the America followed and said like, stop. We are stopping, guys. Now we are stopping and we are sending the food to Africa.
Yeah,
And
understood.
China. Then China said probably, okay. China should be actually contributing to the World Food Program. Like other countries contribute, like UK, like 100 million pounds a year. China contributes like 11 million or something, which is ridiculous. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Zero, basically. Yeah.
It is kind of ridiculous, especially because China is trying to, be a more important player on the international stage.
China is not a very charitable country.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Um,
it doesn't, this does not make China look good.
mhm, mhm. Not at all. Mm, yeah. Ah, who is this handsome guy?
We can see Elon Musk here promoting.
Uh
This was in 2020 Model 3 of Tesla.
huh.
He was
Uh huh.
quite welcomed on stage. Yeah. So
That
Tesla
is the
had.
latest model, huh?
I don't know if this is the latest one, but yeah, Tesla has factories in China, and they're able to
Uh-huh.
produce the more high-end electric vehicles on the Chinese market. But
Okay.
Now a lot of Chinese companies have entered this market as well, right? And they're able to,
Right.
do it more cheaply. So I suppose that Tesla might be worried that, well, we don't want the same problem that happened to, for example, Segway. If you remember the story with Segway, I believe that they had their products or similar copied and similar products made by a Chinese company, and afterwards the
Uh-huh.
Chinese company eventually made so much money that they were able to buy Segway out.
Wow. Not a happy ending.
No, not quite. So a lot of these foreign companies that have invested in China, they were looking for some kind of an exit strategy. Apple has done this. Tesla is looking at this. They might be, trying to relocate to Vietnam. They might be trying to relocate to India. Now, of course, they still have a lot of their suppliers in China, so this is not so easy, right? But then again, also it's not good news for China in the long term.
Definitely not. But Musk just arrived in Beijing like yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't look like he's looking forward to relocate anything.
No, let's. I think he's trying to. I don't know. Maybe beg the government. Like don't.
Yeah.
Let us keep some of the market share. Don't
Maybe
kick us out
maybe he's trying to
entirely.
give them hopefully some better deal or something. So, in my opinion, Elon Musk doesn't care much about human rights, but yeah, he's not a stupid guy. I'm sure that at the end of the day he will sit down and calculate how much they steal from him and how much he can earn from the Chinese market. And when he comes to the conclusion that he's losing more than he's earning, he might pull out eventually.
Yeah, because we remember what happened with some of the Teslas that were made. Maybe some people have already bought them, and then Tesla brought the price down, so then the people started complaining. Yeah, the people that just bought them before. So yeah, I think he's trying to repair some damage.
Yeah, I think it wasn't real. I think they were just made up stories. Maybe there was a message for him.
Could be. Yeah.
I remember there was this woman at the was it Shanghai Auto exhibition when she jumped on the car and she was remember it was like 3 years ago,
No.
and she was screaming or claiming that I don't know Tesla car quality is bad, and
She must have been
actually it wasn't
upset
exactly true.
at something.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. Who knows? Maybe somebody paid her. Who knows? Who knows what it was? But it was so weird.
Well, about 3 years ago, didn't Elon Musk also meet with Jack Ma Long from
Ah,
Alibaba?
Yeah, AI. I hate the
right.
word AI called artificial intelligence. I call it Alibaba intelligence.
Yeah.
So
My
a little
I
bit
didn't.
funny, yeah. Elon Musk says, yeah, might be true.
But these are the Jack Ma
kind of
is
hinting
Chinese
at the fact they're
billionaire,
stealing.
business magnate, founder of Alibaba Group, probably one of the like top I mean,
Definitely one of
top
the
top
richest
tech.
people in China, and
Yeah,
obviously
definitely
the
rich people.
probably the top
Yeah,
tech company that most people are aware of in China.
let's say the most successful Chinese entrepreneur. And Elon Musk is, let's say, most successful Western entrepreneur, right? And this
I
is
don't
the
know, but
the
he's
best with it.
definitely up there.
Okay. So let's see what they have to say.
All right, let's see what else we have here.
End up being true. You never know. Barely getting any information out, basically, with speech.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by what your vision about the technology. I'm not a tech guy. I think more about life. I think AI is going to open a new chapter of the society, of the world, that people try to understand ourselves better rather than the outside world. And it's so difficult to predict the future. 99.99% of the predictions the human being had in the history about the future, all wrong.
Including that one?
Oh yeah, only the 0.00% of the prediction are right. They're right because by accident.
Yeah, but it's also true that 80% of statistics are false.
Yeah. So my meaning is
Cold
that
room, come on, guys.
I think Musk is taking a swipe at Jack Ma here for kind of pulling statistics out of a hat, if you will.
He looks very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like he doesn't know what to say, Well, let's see a little bit more, and that'll complete the picture.
Look at his legs. Look at what he's doing with his legs. Like he doesn't want to be there. He wants to run.
Yeah. Jack Ma is sitting there, very comfortable, in his element, happy to be on the stage and share some of his wisdom with us.
Right.
Let's hear a bit more.
He likes spotlight.
Maybe he does.
Guys, that was a joke.
But I'm happy about the people worry a lot about this today. Are those people I called college smartness. People like us, street smart. We never scared of that. We think it's a great fun, and we want to change ourselves to embrace it.
I don't know, man. That's like famous last words. Let me tell you, like you couldn't evolve silicon circuits. There needed to be a biology to get there.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something fun. What do you think about that? Actually, I'm not interested in Mars. I just came back from there, so I'm more interested on the Earth, the things, what's going on happening here. So why you're...
I mean, this makes sense. There's a lot of people saying, we should focus more on our problems here on Earth and then, focus on something like going to Mars. But let's see what Jack Ma says
when you say something like
after this.
It's like it's impossible to focus on two problems at the same time. Like you can always focus on two problems. You don't have to be focusing only on one. Doesn't mean you are neglecting the other one. You know what I mean?
Right. Let's see what else he says.
Yeah.
So
right.
curious about the Mars. Just the one step you go to Mars, but you will never be able to come back.
Yeah.
So that's my
That's
view.
not how it works, though.
And also,
What did he say?
He's saying just one step you go to Mars and then you cannot come back. You will never come back.
No. How did he come to this conclusion?
I don't know. Maybe that's why he says it's not a good idea, I mean, you can go there, but have you thought about coming back?
He's actually helping Musk, I mean, Musk never thought about it before.
Yeah,
What?
I mean, imagine, for example, in the U.S. space program, I think somebody told them, have you thought about how to get the astronauts back from the moon?
And they were like, what? Wow, oh no. Oh,
We
no.
have to
Oh,
get
man.
them back to, we can't go now.
Cancel the launch. Cancel the launch.
All right, let's hear a little bit more. This is good.
Right.
also
Don't do it.
I hate to go to Himalayas too. I mean, when you climb on I think someday I will go there when the elevator is ready. I will go there have a look. So that's my view about jobs. Don't worry about it. We will have jobs.
Well, this is wonderful.
What?
He says about jobs. Don't worry about it. We'll have jobs. This is, this is
Just like that?
This is like ignorance and procrastination, or thinking, this will somehow sort itself out. Yeah. I don't know what he was replying to.
Somebody
exactly,
Sounds like somebody that worked for Mao Zedong, like in 1960. Don't worry about it. We will have.
Don't worry
jobs.
about and except that they didn't.
Yes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, you think of like technology and technology awareness. It's like if there was like a topological map of technology awareness, it's mostly flat, with a few short buildings and then some very tall spires. And unless you're on that very tall spire, it's not obvious what the topology is.
Yeah, I never worry about the things that I cannot solve. I left other people to solve it.
Yeah, this is a little bit funny because this is one of the largest technological companies in China. Now, obviously, they have engineers and scientists and researchers working for them, but when their CEO comes out and says this, it just sounds bad.
Imagine how they Fridays meetings look like. Somebody says like, I don't know how to solve this problem, and Jack Ma goes like, don't worry about that.
Maybe we can go around the problem. Or somebody asks, can we go around the problem? Yes, that's the right answer.
Or just go home, man, and enjoy the weekend. We'll
Somebody will solve it.
Yes.
If nobody can solve it, just let it be. That's my life. Oh, let's talk about education. I'm quite interested about education. Computer only have chips. Men have the heart. It's the heart where the wisdom comes from. So I think that's my...
You can see these expressions on Elon Musk's face are great.
Yes. It's being hard what to say, not to involve him.
Yeah, well, let's see.
I view, and don't worry about it. We will change it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I never, in my life, and especially last 2 years when people talk about AI, say human being will be controlled by machines, I never think about that. I think it's impossible, right? It's impossible because human beings, they are different. Machines are invented by human beings, and according to the science, right? Humans can never create another animal that is smarter than humans. Especially when you have so many smart people, it's impossible to make another smart people.
I very much disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my view is that computer may be clever, but human beings are much smarter.
Yeah, definitely not.
Clever is very academic. So I told those guys, they are very sad. So, computer will be smarter than human beings because computer can play chess better. I think you are stupid to compete with that. Don't do that. So we always do things we are good at.
Sure. Okay. Well, what would be an example of something that humans are better than a
This
computer
is what we
at?
talk about,
And
how these rich people, go around the Chinese New Year, visit their family, and they talk and talk and talk, and everybody listens to them because they are rich.
Yes, because you're older, you are richer, you have a higher position in society. It's kind of hard, to challenge you.
Yeah, because there he's richer, so he must be right.
Right.
No
yeah.
matter what kind of nonsense he's saying.
Yeah, but then imagine how difficult it must be for the scientists and engineers and researchers to get their new ideas implemented.
Yes, if you have a boss like this,
and then let's see if that happens.
Well, computer is only one of the clever tools that human created. And computers are clever, but there will be more tools that human beings will create, much clever than computers. That's my view.
So you see, these kind of generalizations that anybody can say, they don't. It doesn't really contribute anything to the conversation, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, let's break it down just a little bit, just this last sentence. Humans created smart computers, but they will create something smarter than computers. Like what?
Yeah,
Chairs?
that's a good question. Why can't you give an example, right?
Yeah.
It would be a lot better if you at least give an example, rather than make generalizations.
But everything is computer. I mean, what smart is going to create?
I don't know. He
Like,
could have said,
yeah.
artificial intelligence machines. He could have given some example.
Yeah. But maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Sounds a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? In the future, if you want to survive in this world, you have to be the LQ, the Q of love. That's important too. Otherwise, you cannot survive in artificial intelligence time.
Well, I agree with love is the answer. There's
Yeah.
many songs about that.
Yeah, and he doesn't give an example again. What does it mean? He doesn't explain it.
He forced Elon Musk to say love is the answer.
Well, man.
Like a movie.
This
Oh,
was
man. End of some movie.
this was funny. So
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen with China in the future?
Well, it's not looking very bright right now with China.
Looking quite as optimistic as some of the predictions maybe from
Not
10 years
ve-
ago, yeah?
No. No, not very good. This year is definitely not only in China, but also in Europe and America. It's not looking very good. Maybe from the beginning of next year, maybe the economies might start growing again, and maybe people start spending money, and
Okay.
the construction companies will start some new projects. But right now it's not looking very good.
No, well, then that is a problem with China as well. If people, aren't buying more from them. I mean, during COVID, people
Yeah, they're not
were buying Chinese products. People in other countries, so China was still exporting, but I don't know if that hasn't. Those numbers haven't dropped by now. Yeah, but
Well,
let's see.
maybe China will try to focus. Basically, Xi Jinping was talking about like 4 5 years ago, that on domestic consumption more than on exports.
Well, if they don't have a solution how to keep exporting more, then that's what's going to happen. And China has a large internal market, right? But also, that's not how you get so much money. You get more money from export, obviously, because this just helps to redistribute the money around the country.
Yeah, right.
And we know that China wants whenever some money gets into China, China does try to keep it circulating within China rather than have it leave China's borders.
Yes.
So in this sense, China
yes,
is
it's true.
quite protectionist.
And this is not helping China. Exactly. This is not attracting more investors coming. to
No,
China.
obviously not. They might be scared
Yeah.
for several reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the decrease in the population
Sure.
without any immigration. Yeah. I don't think that China has a solution, and any other solution than attract more foreign investors coming to China. That's all that they can do.
Yes, but
They cannot solve
they
the
will
problem.
have to make some kind of concessions to them, or at least try to give them some kind of guarantees. That they will not close down, they will not close their borders. They will not be a crackdown, and that they will be able to protect their IP, their intellectual property.
I don't think they can give any guarantees like that.
But
think
you know, so
that,
you do see it sometimes nowadays when Chinese companies or infringe on foreign companies in China. Sometimes you do see the foreign companies take them to court and win. This was the case with, for example, Jägermeister and its Chinese cousin, Jäger Hunter. So I think Jägermeister was able to win a lawsuit like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's I don't know how recent that was, but that's still being sold in China, or it was a couple of years ago. So
There might be some silver lining after all.
let's see.
Right. Okay, let's see.
Well, actually, let's end it with the words of the great Jack Ma. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. You know, it'll work itself out. It'll sort itself out.
All right. Yeah, right. You are right. Yeah. Very optimistic.
All right.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, then take care and don't worry about it.
All right. Good. Okay. So let's not worry about it, and you know, love is the answer.
All right. Yeah. That too. So lots of love to you, Trabant, and
You too, Tito.
I'll see you next time.
See you
Take
next
care.
time. Yeah, you too.